everybody. And first of all, welcome and thank you so much for being here. We've had, just people pouring in questions. I've got some in front of me that came in yesterday, and I'll go back and forth with these. I'll go ahead and answer some of these questions, and then I'll go ahead and look at the chat box and answer any questions that you have while we're on here live today. I know that there always are questions. As a parent of a child with autism, I've lived it, and I know that there are constantly questions coming in, or that you have along the way. Of course you do. There are thousands of them probably in your head. So try and pick like the most prominent something, and I like to answer things that also have to do with everybody, which most of them do. You'll find that. This is also to answer questions about the Naturally Recovering Autism membership program. If you didn't catch the live event that I did the other day, the replay and information about the membership is still available for a very limited time, just a few more days. So please catch that catch it all before it all goes down Sunday night at midnight. And that can be found at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. So there's information on the program there for you. There is a replay of the event I did the other day, and there are also some parents who have shared what the program has done for them, because I know that you're probably, you've seen a lot of different things out there. You're wondering what makes this unique, what's different, how, all of this, and I understand those questions. And again, as a parent who's lived it myself, that I know how important it is to walk through the whole thing A through Z and be able to get all of the pieces of the puzzle taken care of. Because if you leave out some of the foundational aspects and you don't protect the body while it's detoxifying, you're going to have way worse symptoms than if you didn't. So we can talk about that a little bit today. And again, all of this is going to be covered in the workshop too. So if you didn't catch the workshop live, or if you're still feeling like you want to revisit it, again, it's available for just a few more days. So you can go back and watch it again if you need to. I love doing live Q&A. We've talked about, if you watched the event the other day, I talked about how we do a live 90-minute, or it's about 90 minutes usually, call once a month in the program. And it's very similar to this. We join in live, you post your questions in the chat box, and it's an extra piece that I like to do to connect with you and be able to talk and answer questions in this way. But always remember, in the program, the forum is available 24/7 to you. So if you're moving through the program and everything is, again, very much in a sequential order, you're getting that foundational pieces set so you can protect and reduce the symptoms of die-off on your way. We're healing the gut, everything to do with diet, because I know there's a lot of questions. I even have a couple here about the picky eating and the transitioning. We want to heal up the gut, because the gut controls the brain and is 80% of the immune system. We've got heavy metal detoxification that is natural and safe, because that can keep your child from getting well. Also the co-infections, mold, Lyme, strep, pandas, parasites, all of these things keep the gut ill, keep your child's brain ill, even when you're probably doing a great job. You're working hard and you're trying to figure it out, but maybe you haven't been on an A to Z protocol. You've been lost along the way. You've been confused. You're trying this and trying that, but you really don't truly have a plan, a roadmap to follow. And that's how this is unique. I give that to you in A to Z in an online program, and it's the best way that I can support you. And it's inside with a community of just amazing parents who are working hard to get their children to live their best life, creating independence, better speech, better ability to focus, better mood stability. Often kids, some, especially, well, girls are strong too, but the boys can grow up and if they're violent, it can be really scary for the parents. And I understand those things. So we want to do all we can now. And if your child is in their 20s or 30s, which I have parents in the program whose children are, it's not too late. So whether you're brand new to the journey or you've been on it for a really long time, this can all definitely be beneficial for you and your child. So I would like to go ahead and jump into the questions now. and make sure that I'm going to cover a couple of the things that have came in last night. People had sent in some questions ahead of time, and then I'll jump into the chat box. So I'll kind of jump back and forth a little bit there. But one of the first things was asked, it's often diet is a big one. And I give you a lot of diet resources in the program so that you have recipes, cookbooks, all the foods you can eat, foods to avoid and why. But constipation is a very, very common question. And this mom says, do I know or recommend any powdered or fiber vegetable that can be sprinkled over food to help open the bowels for kids that have also a good amount of vegetable intake? And the answer is absolutely yes. I have a fantastic product. If you have a pen and paper handy, grab that, or my team can pop it into the chat too. But I made what is called a pretty link, an easy link for you to grab to find it. You go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/TS. It stands for Touchstone, which is the company that they also have a fantastic, very high quality CBD oil that helps for calming. And if you give it to your child right before eating, it helps calm the sensory overload and some of the histamine triggers in their mouth that make food uncomfortable. But that link and the code HEALTHY5 with no spaces will also give you a discount on your first purchase with this company's and with their first order. But it's called Super Green Juice Powder, is a powder, and it's very high concentrate of organic vegetables. And so because it's very, very, very good product, but kids with autism have some trouble with digestion, as you know. And so what you want to do is start out with just a little bit to begin with. You can mix it. It's actually sweet tasting. They put a little bit of stevia in it, which is one of the very few safe sweeteners, does not affect candida or blood sugar levels, glycemic index. So it actually tastes good, but you don't want to start out with a full scoop. You want to start out with just like a quarter to an eighth of a scoop, just a little bit sprinkled into water, or you can mix it in with any food or other beverage, anything, mix it in with it and start them. And then wait 24 hours, see if you notice that they have any trouble with digestion at all, because fiber content, although we all need it and it's very, very important, it can cause digestive disturbance in a gut that isn't working properly. So we want to start out with small amounts and work our way up. If you are in my program or have joined it, you will find that I say that about everything, whether it's a supplement or a food, a new food, anything. You want to start with about an eighth to a quarter, often, depending on what it is, of the amount that is suggested. And then wait 24 hours and then do that amount again, and then wait another 24 hours. And after 2 to 3 days, if you're finding that they're doing okay on it, then you titrate it up slightly by about a quarter bit more. You don't want to just give any suggested dosage on a bottle ever. Our kids are too sensitive. Most people are too sensitive. That guideline is not given to way too many people. And so I want you to know that's super important. And this is going to help you reduce those symptoms of die-off, which is, again, another question that has come in about it. How do I protect my little one, their liver, while detoxifying? And so we have a liver elixir that we use in the program, but it's not the very first thing I have you use. I first have you get on some binders. That link I gave you to the super green powder, they also have a binder that is called Pure Body Regular Zeolite versus the Extra Zeolite, which is the one we use for heavy metal detoxification. Most of these things, the zeolites, they taste like water. You can mix them in with any food or beverage too. But that binders will help the body to absorb. The body is trying to process the excess toxins. Even when you change your child's diet, you might find that symptoms will increase. And the reason for that is that as the bad bacteria, the candida or parasites, other things, that we're starting to take away their food source. they want processed carbohydrates because they turn to sugar in the body. And the candida especially lives off of sugar. So fruit, sugar, processed carbohydrates, of course, gluten and casein for multiple reasons, they all create inflammation and they all feed the candida. As we start starving out the candida by taking away their foods, and again, it's kind of a good idea to slowly remove the bad foods, because if you take away all of the candida's food right away all at once, your child can have excessive, more extreme behaviors, because as that candida is dying, hence the term die off, as it's dying, you'll find that the behaviors get worse. And the reason for that is that the liver is already congested. It's likely your child was even born with a congested liver. They get toxins from us in utero, or we live in a very toxic world today. So we need to protect ourselves as well as our children from these things. And there are a lot of natural ways to do it. I suggest if you join the program that everybody follow the program. There is no extra fee for yourself, your spouse, your other children following the program. It's a one. Most places do not do that. This is all inclusive for your entire family. Okay, so that it includes people in your home, because as the liver is congested, it's our organ of detoxification, and it cannot process the excess toxins because it's just too much overload. And that's where these behaviors come from. As the body becomes more toxic, the brain becomes more toxic, and the brain becomes more inflamed. And when that happens, we see the behaviors increase. People say, how come my child is all of a sudden stimming again, hand flapping, worse behaviors? And it's because there is usually die-off symptoms, excessive toxins that the body can't process fast enough. That's why we start with the stabilizing and the foundational aspects, like the binders, to help bind up some of those extra toxins. It helps the body, so the liver doesn't have to process everything. Minerals, certain minerals will help to support detoxification pathways. So these things are all really important to know. And then as we do that, and as the inflammation calms down on the brain, then the symptoms calm down. So autism is really all of the things that there are, and we know it's a large spectrum. Everybody's symptoms are different, but we know that the symptoms range so drastically, and it's because it's where the inflammation and the level of toxins and the level of pathogens and co-infections, what they are, and how much the brain is being affected by the inflammation, and then where the brain is being affected by the inflammation. People ask about speech, and again, a question here, ask about speech, of course, all the time. Speech regression, very, very common with aluminum. Aluminum, and you've probably seen that if you've looked at Alzheimer's these days. A very big piece of it is we have excessive aluminum in our environment. Environmental toxins are huge. One of the bonuses you get for joining the program right now is the Environmental Toxins Resource Guide. And it's not just what they are, but you need to know what they are in and around your home, but also solutions. We work with these things, of course, in the program. Silica is very important, but a quality one. I'm not going to throw a bunch of supplements at you today, but I want to explain what's happening. So aluminum very much affects speech. Vaccinations have a lot of aluminum in it. So you'll see a lot of parents will ask questions around, I saw my child regress after a vaccination, or my child started getting worse out after maybe they had exposure to something else, the environmental toxin, and that can cause the regression. So, and another thing that is very big with speech is PANS or PANDAS. One of the co-infections, and again, hopefully you saw the event the other day where I explained more about PANS and PANDAS. When it's PANDAS, they're acronyms that means associated with strep or streptococcal infections. And then also PANS is what's happening is that the body can get triggered by mold, Lyme, candida, excessive die-off, and throw your child into what I call a PANS flare-up. Excessive OCD, increase in stimming, possible speech regression, fearfulness, clinginess, like their behaviors just really got worse, and it's the immune system attacking the brain. So as that's happening, we really want to make sure that stops. In the program, we use the proprietary organic herbal formulas. They're safe, natural, and effective, broad spectrum, protect and support to modulate the immune system, because we never want to boost the immune system in autism, because we can cause autoimmune issues, which autism already runs along the lines of. So these things are all really important for you to know. And I know that it's likely you haven't heard this before and you haven't been guided properly before. And again, it's why I'm here for you and why I'm doing this, because I've lived it myself and I know what it's like to just be out there and, sometimes feeling frantic and afraid and trying to figure it out, and you don't know what to do. So I'm here to help explain some of these questions that have come in, and I'll jump in the chat again here in a moment. Just see if there's anything. How do I transition my child into a better diet? Especially, if there's leaky gut, the gut needs to be healed. Okay, so of course, as I mentioned, there's binders and minerals and various things that will help the body to rebuild, but there are specific supplements, of course, that we use in the program to help assist that too, because as you know, there are multiple things here. It's not just one or two, it's multiple factors involved. Collagen is very, very helpful. If you go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/117, I did a podcast on this, and I do a blog for every podcast. And on there is a link to something called Perfect Keto. And if you use my link, perfectketo.com/Karen, they'll give you, I think, a 20% discount. I work with companies all the time. Again, I've weeded out the 95% of products that don't work, found the 5% of really good ones, high quality, bioabsorbable, gentle, effective, the best, safest things that we can find to work with specific needs for autism. Our kids are way more sensitive than most individuals, and you've probably already experienced that one, and probably wished you hadn't, but it's a live and learn experience. There's a lot of education here, and coming out the other side of this, you'll know so much more about health. So the collagen has a lot of amino acids and various things in it that will help to heal the lining of the gut, and it's a very high quality protein source. This company makes some in various flavors. There's a strawberry and a vanilla that are actually really good tasting. It's a powder and you mix it in with water. I usually say to stray away from things that are chocolate flavored, because cocoa can create histamine reactions, which are something you really want to be aware of. We have a whole antihistamine diet and information about that in the program. Histamines are, most of us, they're inherited. A lot of times we don't even realize that we're having them. They can be from foods, they can be from environmental toxins, swimming pools with chlorine in them. A lot of things can create a histamine reaction. What you'll see is like hyperactivity, rapid heart rate, trouble sleeping. This can be, but very, very common with foods. And chocolate usually causes some histamine reactions in those that are sensitive. So I usually say to avoid the cocoa flavor, but the strawberry one's really good. There's vanilla. So a couple of options there as a good nutritional source. And you can add some of this in with that super green food powder that I mentioned into a smoothie, into just water and mix it up. Things like that to help get some nutrition into your child now, because I know that becomes a little scary at times too. Your child's not eating anything but the bad foods, and we need to get them away from those bad foods. They're very inflammatory. They're going to keep the gut from getting better. They're going to keep, when the gut is inflamed, the immune system's weak and the brain is getting inflamed from the gut. So again, very important, but a transitional process. So these are just a few tips that I can give you right now in this moment to help you know some things that you can do at home and to be careful what to watch for. Histamines also create a lot of itchiness and tingling in the mouth, which makes our kids, especially if they're nonverbal, they can't tell you, not want food because they don't like that feeling. That's why giving a little bit of CBD oil before food is helpful. There are also some supplements that can help calm histamine reactions down as well. But so I just wanted you to be aware of those things. Let me see if there's anything. I did an episode, die off episode, if you want to, for my podcast as well, at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/153. So if you want to look more about die off, somebody asked about mitochondrial triggers. These are huge in children with autism. Mito, Lyme, vaccinations, environmental toxins. You might see it's usually extreme fatigue. They'll usually have a lot of constipation. Constipation, again, number one trigger, a cause for constipation. Well, the number one symptom, I should say, for parasites is constipation. Parasites are very commonly not seen in any tests, even if you test for them. Most tests are inaccurate and they're expensive. Everything we use in the Naturally Recovering Autism membership program, you do not have to test for before using. They're broad spectrum, and they're going to help the body anyway. So in that way, you're not getting a negative test and thinking your child doesn't have it and not doing something about it. You don't want to, we use, there's of course a CoQ10 or ubiquinol to help mitochondria. There are, what else? I did an episode 150 for mitochondria. You can learn more there. But we use a very, very high quality CoQ10 or ubiquinol in the program because it needs to have something called Kaneka in it. There are certain things that just make it a better product. There's, again, a lot of really bad junky products out there. Somebody wanted to know if they could use their goat's dairy milk, and cow's milk is definitely the one to be avoided. It has the bad A1 protein, very inflammatory. Goat's milk and sheep's milk can be good. I also did an episode on camel's milk, number 116, if you want to listen to that. But these should be used kind of like medicine. You start with very, very small amounts because they have natural probiotics in them, which can cause die-off. As we build good bacteria, it pushes out the bad bacteria. And again, as they die, then we can create more die-off symptoms. So things need to be done very, very slowly in very small amounts. Again, as I was saying a little earlier, go about 24 hours, see if they're okay. If they are, give the same amount to them that you gave them. Then after that, on day 2 or 3, you're going to then slightly increase an amount of what you gave them. That's a good way to know if something's working for them or not. If you're not sure about a food, I teach muscle testing in the program, a whole thing on it, because you can then ask what food or product your child's body will accept now, and then also to know dosages. But as you're learning that, or if you're not yet comfortable with it, then you can use their symptoms to guide you. So we have a lot of pieces of that we go into. Electromagnetic field pollution. Yes, it is a huge, huge problem today. A huge piece of why our bodies have a hard time healing when they get weak and get ill. Part of why they can cause weakness. I've done an episode where there's a company, and if you go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/safe, it'll take you to their website. They give a 15-day free trial. I mean, you can read all the things of like how it affects your cells, your body, everything. And they give a 15-day free trial on their product that you can put onto your phone or on your home that will help harmonize EMFs. But yes, they are very, very dangerous and definitely need to be addressed and properly. I'm going to jump out of the questions in my hand and jump into the chat. Lauren, so I just answered some things for picky eaters. The collagen perfect keto powder is really helpful. Again, moving slowly with foods, even things that you think are healthy, like they can have polyphenols in them. Spinach is very high in that. And if your child has a phenol sensitivity, hyperactivity, can hurt their gut, things like that, then you need to avoid that food. So those things are really good to remember too. Bethany, your son's on Ritalin. Would the course help him get off of this medication? My goal is really to help everybody get off of medications and get back to natural. But you have to, of course, and I'm sure you already know this, remove any medication with the help of a qualified professional. Hopefully you have some kind psychiatrist doctor that is going to help you slowly remove that from your child's body, because as you work through at least my program with the Naturally Recovering Autism membership, a lot of the things that are causing their symptoms, Ritalin's going to mask things. But over time, they'll need more because it won't mask well enough, and more because it won't mask well enough. And eventually it's really harder, much harder to get them off. What happens is, as we work with the biology naturally and reduce the inflammation, then those symptoms that he once got on, or she once got on Ritalin for, are going to be diminished. They're going to be reduced. And eventually we hope they will go away, which they did for my son. But if they're already on something, you just slowly, with the help of a professional, titrate down their dosages less and less. And as you're moving through the program, you're making sure that you're working with it so that you're healing the causes, because that's the key, is really to work with the causes of every issue and not just masking symptoms. So yes. And if parents ask this too, like, oh, Karen, I've been on another protocol or programs or for a long time, how do I integrate? Right on the introduction page and on the supplement page, I have a way of, it said something that says there's a quick start guide to help you getting started, because everything is in a sequential order. Even if you've been on a protocol for a long time, I want to help get that foundation set, because it's very, very often not been set properly. So, but there's also a guide to, I've already been, it says, I've already been on supplements for, prior to this program, what do I do? And I show you how to transition into things and what to do, because there's a lot of times the product that you've been on in the past is not something that is a quality product. So I want to make sure that you're on the best product available. So I give you guidance on that as well. I love it. We've got people from all over joining in. About vinegars and spices. So the things, a lot of spices can actually have health benefits, but they can be really hard for a sensitive digestive system to be able to digest comfortably. So spices are usually more about the comfort level rather than any problems they would cause. When you go to distilled products, and again, somebody wrote in about fermented products. So fermented products create histamine reactions. I had a mom write me recently in the forum, even in the program, and she said, my child was doing so much better. She was calmer, happier, eating well. And all of a sudden she's hyper and her behavior's gotten really excessive again. And she's stimming all these things. And she said, what can be going on? And we troubleshoot. Okay, was she exposed to a building that possibly had mold in it? Did she have any other new environmental exposures you can think of? Was she given any new foods that she hasn't, had previously to the symptoms coming on? So we kind of went through things, and then the mom said, oh my gosh, I just started giving her cabbage and fermented cabbage juice. And I said, fermented products have histamines, create histamines in the body, which create hyperactivity and more stimming because of the hyperactivity. And she said, that's exactly when the behavior started. And I said, yeah, because fermented foods, again, are creating histamine reactions. If they could be creating die-off reactions as well at the same time. So I usually say to avoid them. I know a lot of people say, get your kid on some, fermented foods, but beware, if you're going to do that, you're going to start out at a very, very small increment and watch for their behaviors, and don't do anything else new when you do that. And you'll see what kind of reactions that they have. But that's why I say not to do it. Okay, so I see the team has the link there, autismmomsmentor.com membership or naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership will take you to, again, the replay of the workshop from the other day, because I go through all of these things in detail that I'm talking about today. Would love more information on metal detox. I really went over it in the event the other day. So watch the replay, and you'll be able to hear a lot more about heavy metal detoxification. We do it safely and naturally with, actually, it's a very, very high quality, natural, not synthetic, natural zeolite that is able to cling to the heavy metals like a magnet. Heavy metals are positively charged and these zeolites are negatively charged, so they connect and they won't let go, and they won't allow for redistribution of those toxins back into the system as it's being eradicated. And also that's what DMSA, which you'll get at the doctor's office, will allow for that release of those toxins as it's being trying to be removed. And DMSA also takes out calcium, magnesium, and good minerals that we need. And so it's better if the, let me do something real quick here. There we go. It's better if, these natural zeolites won't take out any of the good stuff. They only leave in they leave the calcium, minerals, and all the other things intact that are in the body. So they just take out the bad and are very, very safe. But heavy metals are a big deal. I mean, mercury can cause a lot of aggressive behavior, just like Lyme does. It can cause a lack of mental clarity, inability to focus and concentrate, as do some of the co-infections. Again, watch the replay if you haven't already, or if you need to revisit, because I tie everything in together. Because again, the heavy metal toxins, things like mercury, aluminum, lead, cadmium, they all are affecting the brain and different organs of the body, and the gut, affecting the GI system and keeping it weak. Just like certain foods can, and inflammation from them, and just like Lyme and mold and strep and parasites, these things are all affecting the gut. It's why you may have already plateaued on the autism recovery process, or any protocol you've been on, while your child might have gotten to a level and they're just not getting better, or why you may have not gotten the results you hoped for. These have to be all worked with very thoroughly. We say autism recovery is about a 4-year process, and that's being done properly. And when you get to that point, then you see who your child is. They may keep their diagnosis, and that's okay. But what we can do is improve their quality of life. Every child's, level of recovery is different, but what can happen is improved speech. I have parents I've worked with who their professional in autism told them that their child would never speak. And today because of my program, what they implemented from it, they are fully verbal, speaking endlessly. Some of them say, one is 27 years old. His mom had tried everything for decades. And about 5 months into the program, her son is now reading books with her, and he was nonverbal at 27 prior to it. So, ability to focus in a classroom. Kids, some getting D's and F's in a special ed class, now in a regular class getting A's and B's. Diana shares her story in a podcast episode I did with her. You can listen to that at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/Diana. And she shares her son's story of complete transformation. It's quite inspiring. So if you're inclined, listen to that. And it was all from being in the Naturally Recovering Autism membership. She had tried many things prior. So now her child's getting A's and B's, leader of the class. He used to hide behind mom, afraid of the other kids, no social connection. Now the teacher he's no longer in special ed, he's in regular, and the teacher says he's the leader in the class with other kids. He plays with everybody, has friends. That's another thing that we as parents want, is our children to be social so that they can be happy, because they get very lonely. I know it's hard for them to connect with others. And it can be, it can be heartbreaking, honestly, to watch them want to make friends and to not be able to, and to be sad. And so anything that helps their social connection with others, the ability to stay calm and relaxed. Many kids were screaming. One mom said her son was screaming in tantrums 24/7, wild, aggressive. And she's like, Karen, now he's so calm and relaxed from the things that you shared with me. That's why I do this. I don't want you to be out there trying to figure it out for yourself and not getting the results that you need. Your children are getting older every day, and I know it's hard on you and the whole family in the home. I've lived it. There's no shame here. And I always say, it's not that your child is an angry person or unintelligent in any way. It's that their brain cannot function properly. It's loaded with toxins and inflammation that are getting in its way. And so that's why they're behaving this way. You remove the toxins, the co-infections, the inflammation, and their symptoms reduce and even sometimes are completely eliminated, depending on the child. So that's what we can do, is, again, give them more independence for their future and better quality of life, and really a happier and healthier one. So let me scroll down here. So, yep, Tasha want to join? Yes, you can join right now. The doors are open right now. Please do it before enrollment closes Sunday night at midnight, because I don't want you to miss out. We close it down so I can come in and focus on all the new parents coming in. We do have it laid out in a sequential order, and you'll have, within 5 minutes, you'll have an email after joining. You'll have an email in your inbox that gives you your login details to the privacy protected membership site, and a quick guide to getting started. It'll say start here, and it'll introduction page. It'll show you what to do to get going, so you know what to do. So I know at first it can be intimidating. Well, I know what to do. Yeah, we guide you. And then if you have questions, the forum, I'm there for you in the forum, of course. And I get back to you within 24 hours. Let's see. Okay. What do I recommend for noise sensitivity in a 4-year-old with ASD? Oh, and then the next question is, how do you know what CBD oil works best? I have a couple, one that I use and link to in the program, and it's at that same link that I said earlier, naturallyrecoveringautism.com/TS. Oh, we need to mute somebody because we're hearing a child's voice in the background. Naturallyrecoveringautism.com/TS for Touchstone. That's what it stands for. And if you use the code HEALTHY5, the number 5, all together, no spaces, they'll give you a discount on your first order. But they're the ones who carry the zeolite that I mentioned, the super green food powder I mentioned, and they have a very, very high quality CBD oil. Because yes, there are a lot of junky CBD oils out there that won't work. And the CBD oil is very safe, and you can use it multiple times a day and at night. That's okay too, as needed. What you'll find with dosages is if you give a drop or two or a couple drops, depending on your child's size and weight, you give them a couple drops and you find it helped a little, but not as much as you like, then you can increase to 3 or 4 drops. It usually just isn't enough if you need to add more. But also remember, while you're doing that and helping to reduce sensory overload, there's a PDF I give. I did an interview with a sensory processing expert, and I want to remember the link to some at-home fun sensory games is naturallyrecoveringautism.com/fun. That's how I remember it. But there are ways to calm sensory overload while we're working with the causes. Now, remember, the CBD is going to help the causes to some degree. They actually help the receptors in the body. CBD is actually very healthy for you as well as calming, but But all of these things are also have causes behind them that we're working with. The gut being ill can cause a lot of behavior issues. Food allergies, we work with those naturally in the program. Those can be worked with to help calm things like these histamine triggers I mentioned. The die-off symptoms, die-off can as well. If you're detoxifying too fast, you got to know what to do when you slow down, and how to slow down, how to back off before adding anything more in. Being able to work with that for sure. We do a lot of that in the program. A lot of it, as you can imagine. People get eager and they want to give a little bit more, and like, nope, slow helps you go faster. There's no hurry up. There's no keeping up. You are working with your child's biological timeline, what their body will allow. So it's at their pace, and that goes by their symptoms for you. So as we move through these things, heavy metal detoxification, those co-infections, all of those are creating a lot of these sensory overload issues at the causative level. So again, they need to be worked with at that level to really take care of them long term. But for now, helping to work with the gut, getting some good nutrition in, starting to reduce those bad foods, CBD oil, some sensory calming activities can be really helpful while we're working with those as well. So just important to know that. Nicola, hi from the Netherlands. Hi and welcome. Nobody believe me when I showed your book to psychiatrists. What am I supposed to do now? You have a choice to believe them or not, and they have a choice to believe you or not. You don't. There are so many naysayers out there, Nicola. I mean, I see it on social media all the time. I mean, it's just, some people are believers and some people are not believers. And the people who are not believers, depending on what's going on, I know that I've done 16 years of research. I watched my son, who I was told I should drug him and try behavioral therapies, and there was nothing else we could do for him but manage his symptoms the rest of his life. Well, fortunately, I didn't want to listen to their negative naysayers, and those were the experts, right? They didn't know what they were talking about. Fortunately, I didn't just listen to them. I said, well, I'm going to figure this out, because I won't accept that answer for my child. He needed a happier life and a healthier one. So I began my own research. Today, my son isn't even diagnosable with autism. His symptoms are gone. He's a college graduate. He lives independently on his own with friends that he rents a room from one of his buddies. What if I had just listened to them? That's what I say is do your own education as you are doing right now. You educate yourself, you see what you can do. And don't let anybody discourage you from finding out what the answers could be for your child. Because if I had listened to those people and I had just drugged my son and not tried to really do anything else, he would not be the happy, healthy guy he is today. I can tell you that. And I can't even imagine him having the life he used to have for the rest of his life and not being who he is. I mean, I missed 10 years of him being who he is because it took me that time to figure this out. It took me a decade of probably what you're experiencing right now, weeding through the internet, trying to figure it out through books and seminars and conferences and buying this product and buying that product. And, oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. You're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and losing all this time. Your child goes into die-off symptoms and you don't know what to do. Nobody's there to answer your questions, to support you, troubleshoot it, try and figure out what's going on, help you get solutions so you can move forward again instead of just feeling like, okay, I'm stuck now. What do I do next? So I know exactly what you're talking about. And I work with hundreds of parents all the time now in the program and that are having success. And this is the best way that I can help you. Absolutely is through this membership program. And it's why I offer it. It's why I created it. It took me over a year to put together. And I wanted to be able to have something that would support you and guide you along the way, like through the forum. You can ask questions if needed, but give you a roadmap to follow and in the right way and from A to Z, because we don't want anything important getting left out. But if you're open-minded, please, please stay curious. Please stay open-minded and know that there are solutions for your child. And I believe that I offer them in the program. The program, again, if it's done thoroughly, parents are seeing results. And again, every child's level of recovery is different, but we definitely can help your child improve. So if you'd like to read what some of the parents have experienced, please go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. On that page is the replay to the workshop where I walked through the 4 stages of autism recovery the other day. So the replay is on that page. All of the information about what the membership program offers you is on that page. And there are some stories that parents have shared, and we've left them there for you to read for how the program has helped positively impact and change their lives as a parent and their child's life. So you can read those things from them and hear it from them. I think that that's important to help you, I know, honestly, to gain more trust in this. If we are just meeting, if you haven't been following my podcast for 2 years and you haven't been on my website and followed some resources I've shared previously, and we're just getting to know each other, you probably wonder, can this work? So it's helped so many other kids, not just my own son. And it's not a fluke. Children all over the world are recovering today in different levels of recovery, but it definitely is having an impact in your child's life. So please, please go and check it all out at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. The link is here in the chat box, and see what you can do for your child, and try to ignore the negative people out there. There are so many people that are, and not all of them don't mean well. They just don't know. And they may have initials on their white jacket. That doesn't mean they know either. So we have to go with who's getting results, who's lived it, and what kind of roadmap is being offered. If they're just trying to throw antibiotics at you, somebody wrote in, what about antibiotics? Antibiotics are going to usually make your child worse. What happens is antibiotics are not discriminatory. They will kill the good bacteria as well as the bad. And at first, very, very first, you might think, oh, my child's getting a little better. But then after time, the antibiotics have killed more of the good flora that our kids are already depleted in, that we're trying to rebuild as we heal the gut. And with supplements and various things that we do, we want to build up that good flora, that strong flora that keeps the immune system strong and keeps the lining of the gut strong. So there's no more leaky gut with the things leaking into the bloodstream that shouldn't be, the toxins and inflammation it causes. And as we do these things, we're helping the whole body to heal, and the brain. So it's important, again, again, as that bad bacteria dies off, again, that's why probiotics are great, but I put them in module 2, because if they're started too soon, then you can end up with some extreme die-off reactions. Again, I want that foundation set and some detox pathway work done, because we don't want to throw your child into a big rapid detox and die-offs. So you get horrible behaviors at home, because that's no fun for anyone. So antibiotics are usually their answer, because it's all they know. And what we use are, natural, safe supplements that won't do that. Can only help build the good flora, won't destroy the good flora at all. Heal the gut, get rid of the pathogens that are in the way. And so those antibiotics are going to, cause more problems long term. And you'll have to go back and do more work afterwards. So everything we do is natural and safe. So you don't have to worry about them there. The name of the electromagnetic field reduction site, Robin, is, if you go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/safe, SAFE. I thought that was a good one. Helps me remember it too. Keep us safe. You're sensitive to magnetic fields. Yeah, I am too. My daughter is actually so sensitive that her teeth hurt when she walks through a the moving doors, like in a box store or something like that, or grocery store. Yeah, she's that. So I put the FLFE, which you'll learn about there, on her phone, because she's 21 years old and it's never more than a foot away from her phone. And so I feel like she's always protected. And she also lives in Los Angeles, in the city, and is college and everything. So she's just bombarded, right? So this fully protects her. Normally we want to, like without that on your phone, you want to keep your phone at distance from you, which nobody does because you want your phone nearby, right? So with the FLFE on your phone, and they give you a 15-day free trial. So try it, see if you notice differences in yourself or your child. There's a couple different things that they offer, one on your home, one on your phone, different things. But yeah, it can really, you can notice if your child's more calm, if they seem a little more energetic. Their website even talks about how it helps the body absorb nutrition better. Our cells are affected, and they've shown that things like pathogenic bacteria like Candida can grow up to 600 times faster when in the presence of EMFs. So with the FLFE on your phone or whatever, you now want it near you because it's protective. Or if you put it on your home, then you're protected in your home. You just want something when you go out of your home. So go check it out. The website's very thorough, answers a lot of questions. Tasha, how do you find the replay? If you haven't already seen that, again, naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership. Paula, my child eats mac and cheese for lunch and dinner. What can I do to change that? So again, Paula, your child is literally addicted to those foods. So it does take a little bit of patience and time, and it's okay for a little bit. You're going to have to keep giving a little bit to your child. You said it was a boy or a girl. It's because dairy, cow's milk, and gluten contain not only glyphosate, which tears the gut up and causes inflammation, but they also contain, they're called caseomorphins and gluteomorphins. They're basically morphines, like morphine, like opiates. So gluten and casein, the protein in cow's milk and the protein in gluten in wheat. And remember, wheat is hidden. It can be in shampoos, it can be in lotions, it can be in salad dressings. It's not just bread. So read your labels. It'll say wheat products of some kind. They're hidden in a lot of things, so be careful. You really got to read your labels. So those opiates are created from those products in the body. So your child's addicted like an opiate drug. So it's really, really important to know that, because it'll help you have a little bit more patience with them. We have an at-home allergy kit that can help to reduce those symptoms as well, while you're working with the causes. So getting, like I mentioned earlier today, and we're going to put the replay of this Q&A. I believe it's also going to be put up on the page with the replay of the workshop event from the other day, so that if you need to revisit some of these things that I'm saying, because I know I can be a bit of a fire hose at times. I know we don't have a lot of time together here, and I really want to make sure you get a lot of value out of this. I'm all about value, and that you can, be able to get some nutrition into your child. So the picky eating, we have a whole PDF and cookbooks and recipes and a whole list of foods you can eat and ones to avoid. But you start integrating more good foods and trying to slowly reduce more of the bad foods. The binders help a little bit as you're reducing, because there will be some die off as you remove those foods that are feeding the candida, which both of those are. So again, if you can even sprinkle in a little bit, or give them a little bit of water with some of maybe the strawberry flavored collagen powder that I mentioned, that will get some protein and collagen in them both, so that you're getting some nutritional product in them. as well as something that starts to help heal the gut. And the strawberry flavored one is really good. So it's kind of easy to give to kids, but we do that. We start integrating some of these things. You're based in the UK, Elizabeth. Can the powder you recommend be sent here? Yes. Yes. Touchstone sends to 152 countries or something like that around the world. So it's really easy to get. And I have a lot of people in the UK in the program. So yes, you can get it. There are also, I give you direct links to the products you need, and I work with the companies. I contact them and I ask them if they can give me any type of a coupon code or discount that I can share with my members. And often the companies are very kind. So if they have given me a discount code, it will be right next to the link to direct link to the product that you purchase as you need it, because you don't have to purchase all the products up front, and I don't want you to, because you won't need many of them for a while. It's one thing at a time, and it's in a very slow and sequential order to follow, and you'll see that easily in the member site. The pages are set up in sequential order with information about them and PDF guides on usage. But I also give you right away, direct you in your immediate email that you'll get after joining is a way to show you where the quick guide to getting started is, so that you can follow those pieces too. The diet page has the PDF for picky eating and other things like that as well. So you'll be able to kind of help integrate some of those things right away. And if there is a site that somehow we or a member has found over the years now, that has been a better site for somebody in a certain country to purchase, like Canada. Canada has a lot of shipping costs because it's the nature of Canada. It's not really the companies, it's Canadian restrictions. So if there's a website for Canada or the UK or somewhere that is actually a better way to get it, that you can get the exact product we need because you want the right product, but it can be shipped from something else somewhere else, then that's one way to do it. The Perfect Keto and Touchstone's products are shipped everywhere. And so there's also a resources page in the member site, which you'll see multiple other shipping companies in case you happen to be in a country that's, you're having any issues or you're just looking for something else to utilize. But I do give you a direct link to purchase, so you'll know where to go. More information about camel milk. Okay, I wrote down my camel milk podcast. Camel's milk is really, really great. Where is it? But it needs to be used like, sorry, like a medicine. And it has natural probiotics and protein in it, but some kids are so sensitive, you need to start with literally as little as a couple drops a day, just 1 or 2 drops a day of it. And just watch them again, see how they're doing, make sure there aren't any increased behaviors, which would just be from die-off. It's not hurting them. But again, so you got to watch for it. So I go into all of this and I link to a high quality product that even they sell even in powder form, and they ship. So it's naturallyrecoveringautism.com/116 is the camel milk episode. If it lasts 4 years, the membership must be paid 4 years. It's paid annually, and you have the choice of $970 a year, which saves you about $194, or you can pay it monthly, which is $97 as well. So you have those 2 payment options. And at naturallyrecoveringautism.com, it will /membership. It'll give you those 2 options, and then it'll give you the information on those as well. So that's how it works. So we've been able to break it up into monthly payments for those who want it that way, or an annual for those who want that convenience and to save a little. So totally up to you, your choice. Ranji, what can be the reason a kid gets up sometimes at night and plays for hours and then starts crying? There can be a lot of reasons. If it's around 3 a.m., the adrenals will often be taxed. The middle of the night, I've also done an episode, and I don't have the link right off the top of my head, but I did a podcast episode on can sleep affected by candida induced hypoglycemia. So candida, and all of our kids with autism have candida overgrowth. You don't have to test for it. Your child has it. Trust me. So the candida overgrowth, that pathogenic bacteria, is eating up the sugars and the glucose in the body. That's why your child's craving sugars and processed carbohydrates and gluten. That candida wants that food. It needs it to live. So in the night, when we go to sleep and we're not eating, we're fasting, right? So about the time your child goes to sleep, or we do, to about 3 a.m., the adrenals can be taxed. Partially could be by not only all of the things that are affecting the adrenals, like the toxins and pathogens and inflammation in the body, but also candida has eaten up all of the glucose that the brain needs. The brain can wake up starving for glucose. So sometimes giving your child a snack of like some almonds, which are some of the good fat with protein, like right before bed, or if they wake up, giving them a few almonds or something like that can be very helpful. Because the other thing is mold biotoxins, which again, I talked extensively about in the free workshop the other day, so you can catch the replay and revisit that if you need to. In that, that mold really affects sleep as well. Heavy metal toxicity can too. So again, I like to work with all of these things so that nothing important gets missed. And it's very, very likely your child has all of them, because it's just so common with children with autism. And again, everything we use is safe and natural. So you don't have to worry about using something like, well, what if I don't need this? It's broad spectrum and it's going to help anyway, but you will likely need it anyway. So that's really important to remember. You can try giving them a snack, again, right before bed, of something that has a little bit of protein and good fat in it. Nuts are easy for that one. And then if they wake up again, giving them a little something too, because their body is going through some type of a cycle, and it might be that they're too low in glucose, their blood sugar is drugged. Okay. Carlos, hi. You have two questions. Does the zeolite cross the blood-brain barrier to remove the mercury and lead to the brain? So the Pure Body Extra zeolite is the one that we use that does it. And there's an episode that I did with the owner of the company, and then on that page I also linked multiple studies and another interview I did with him that I linked to at the bottom. And it's called Heavy Metals Linked to Severe Autistic Behaviors. And if you click on that one, it'll give you a ton of studies and information as well. But the one to get to the first interview, and where some of those links are, because I remember it right off the top of my head, is naturallyrecoveringautism.com/HM for heavy metals. But it is very important to cross the blood-brain barrier and get into the cells, because that's where heavy metals like to go. Brain cells. Second, what's the name of the doctor who works with you to guide customers in the membership program of the doctor you work with? I don't work with a doctor. I have multiple doctors and colleagues and professionals I've interviewed in podcasts, and we discuss things together at times when, but there isn't one per se that I am like working with the program. There are different products I've gotten from ones who have developed things over the years, and they allow me to use them in the program for you to have my guidance. So that's how that works, because so they know I've been doing this long enough that that you need my guidance in order to use some of their products. So they do that with me. So hopefully that answers your question. And they're looking at Naturally Recovering Autism.com membership. Again, some of the parent videos there, I guess the team put that in there for you. Nicola, you drink lactose-free milk instead of regular cow's milk because it's better. So what you want to look for is casein, C-A-S-E-I-N. So what's going to happen is that if you're lactose intolerant, or lactose can be very hard to digest for some people, or they don't have the lactase enzyme in order to break down lactose. So that's very common. That's why people are lactose intolerant. So that if lactose is your only issue, then drinking lactose-free milk would help, but you're still getting casein, which is very inflammatory. Cow's milk also has the A1 protein, which is the bad protein. There's a really great book called The Devil in the Milk, if you wanted to read that. Can't remember the author's name off the top of my head. I linked to it on the resources page in the member site if you're in there. But just to learn more about cow's milk and the dangers of it, not to mention what the cows are being fed, the grains, the moldy grains, all of the things that sprayed with glyphosate, they eat that. Then if you drink their milk, you're getting that as well. That's why, organic is always best anyway. But casein is a lot of the problem. If you're going to drink a milk, I would suggest little bits of camel's milk. It's not to be like a huge glass or whatever, but little bits of camel milk or sheep's milk is really is usually quite good, and goat's milk can be too. Goat's milk and sheep's milk have the A2 protein, which the human body can digest better, and we as parents are usually okay with it. You have to gauge your child with autism. If they're super sensitive still, sometimes they can't do goat and sheep milk for a while. And then they maybe can later after their gut heals up a little bit better. So just kind of watch them for symptoms. Elizabeth, thank you. You're welcome. I hope this is helpful. How are we doing on time? I try not to overdo it, but I want to make sure I'm getting some of your questions. Okay. What are some suggestions on how to get my child to take supplements? So everything I have in the program is either liquid or powder form. So you can mix it into food or a beverage and have them take it that way, kind of hide it if you need to. Many of them are tasteless, so you can pretty easily hide it. I tell you when something is best taken with or away from food, and all with food supplements can be taken together with food, and all away from food supplements can also be taken away from food, but together. That's okay too. And I give some guidance on how to do that. There is a PDF or a video, I think. You create a system over time too when you're on multiple things. And then if there was something that was really good, but that our kids needed, and I felt it was one of the necessities, because I had to weed out certain things, and I'll have like an optional to help with sleep or help with constipation for extra things to know about. But I just didn't want to overload the supplement piece. There's certain things that are already just absolutely necessary. And again, it's spread out way over time, but my voice starts to go about this time, so excuse it. It'll start to fade a little bit. If it only came in a capsule form, but I felt it was really necessary, then you can open that capsule up and mix it in with food or beverage too. That's fine as well. So you can mix it in with things, hide it, make a little smoothie. A lot of people get creative. It depends on your child, what they'll take and what they won't, what they'll eat and what they won't. Nellie, what is the cause for high vocal stimming? So high vocal stimming is very, very common with PANS and Lyme. Both of those co-infections, really, really common. And you might notice a regression too a little bit if your child is going through a die-off reaction. Because sometimes, as I've mentioned already, as those toxins start dying off, if it happens too quickly, that's when you want to back off. You want to slow way down. You want to reduce the whatever supplements you're giving them, or if you just started giving them something new when the behavior started, then you know to stop that for right now, go back to what was okay. And that might even at that point now be too much because their body might be backlogged with those toxins. So back off, way off of everything that you're doing, just slow down, reduce it, and see if that helps. If not, if you're in the program, that's when I say and you've got the stability going, the foundational things, some binders and minerals in place, and you get into a PANS flare or things are starting to act up, then I'll usually have you start with the proprietary organic herbal formulas for PANS. There are also triggers, mold, Lyme, PANS, parasites. They can all trigger each other, like especially PANS and even Lyme can be triggered by the excessive too quick detoxification, or parasites can trigger them, or mold exposure and the new inflammation caused from the new toxins can trigger them. So there are environmental triggers, again, to be aware of. And again, you get that bonus of the environmental toxins resource guide. So I suggest looking at it pretty quickly when you join the program so that you are aware of those. And many of the things, there's a whole page on detoxification right in module 1 to help. I'm here to educate you on what you're doing for your child. I walk you through it in a sequential order with an exact roadmap from A to Z. But you will learn so much. I mean, it's really a tutorial program. And for what we're charging for it, it's what you would often pay. You get a whole month for what you would often pay a health coach for maybe an hour. Usually more. We charge health coaches more than $97 for an hour. It's like 100, 150. I've paid up to $500 for an hour of somebody's time they didn't really give me that much information. And of course they want you to then come back, and then there's supplements too there that you have to purchase as well. So it's like, you can only use so much. So I tried to keep it down as best I can. I'm being affected by inflammation too. I mean, inflammation by inflation as well. All of us are. So this is to help cut the costs, because again, you're not having to do things that, are more expensive and really not working for you. So that's really, that's really important to me. So you're getting, again, the knowledge of what to do, because it's very, very educational, because you got to know how to troubleshoot those things when they come up. Adrenal and mitochondrial function, of course, we address mitochondrial dysfunction in module 1 fairly quickly, because you can look at there are for everything I'm mentioning, there's a symptom guide on each page, but I'm going to give you another link. I did an interview with a mitochondria specialist. She's wonderful. And on that page, I also give you a symptom guide to mitochondria, but I can run, it's naturallyrecoveringautism.com/150 is my podcast interview. And also there is a symptom guide to mitochondrial dysfunction. And I mentioned CoQ10 ubiquinol is very helpful, but it also helps support detox pathways. So that's one of the 2 reasons why we address it earlier in the program like that. And because mito is very common. The body isn't getting enough energy into the cells. So constipation is very, very common, because the bowel walls and the muscles in the bowels aren't strong enough and don't have the energy to push the stool through. So there's that. You'll notice extreme fatigue. Your child is really lethargic and tired a lot. Let me see what else I popped up here. Diarrhea, cyclic vomiting. That's another thing for mitochondria. Some of the triggers for mito are definitely vaccinations, Lyme, and environmental toxins. symptoms, you might also notice might be constipation, or it might be diarrhea. They can alternate. Same with parasites, they can alternate. So it kind of can throw you off a little bit, but both of those things cause those to alternate. So they both are dealt with. We deal with parasites fairly quickly in the program too, because they are a big problem, and a big problem in children with autism, and need to be really addressed pretty quickly once those the foundations kind of set in place. And depression, which depression's also really big with mold. So there are a few for you. Can an autism child of 13 years old benefit from this diet? Oh, absolutely. Whether they're 2 or 42, they can benefit. Any age, any person at any age can benefit from this diet. I highly recommend it. People are eating grains and gluten and glyphosate filled products and all of these things today that are so detrimental to the health, and they're causing, we see commonly that, okay, so you might have one child with autism, or maybe 2, because that's really common as well. You might have one that's got autism, and your other's just maybe another that's been diagnosed with ADD, or they have digestive issues or mitochondrial issue that you know of, which means they're very sensitive. So beware of any future environmental toxins that they're exposed to. So be aware of them to know to avoid them. So yeah, and you as a parent, your whole family can benefit from the diet. Absolutely. Anybody at any age, honestly, 0 to 150. What supplements are good to give your toddler? Everything we use in the program is safe for anyone at any age. If there is any caveat, there's one herbal product that you're not supposed to take if you're on psychotropic drugs. It says that right there on the page next to it, and next to where you purchase it on the page for the product, where you purchase it. So that's written there. But yes, these are safe. What you will use are, of course, lower dosages, and that is all laid out, the usage and the dosage for a child for their age or size, weight, but usually we start with age. And I show you how to titrate up. And so as I've mentioned here today in this Q&A, that the titration is very slow. So you're going to start with way lower than anything says on a bottle usually. And so when there are sometimes, like, I work with some companies that are specifically for autism, which is great. They're made for super sensitive individuals. So they'll say, okay, for usage on this product, so for ages like 2 to 4, start with a 1/4 teaspoon, or, from 4 to 7, start with a 1/2 teaspoon or something like that. But so we'll give guidelines, but I also, again, teach you muscle testing. So you'll know how to be able to determine that. And prior to learning that, you go by symptoms, but also I'll give you guidance. You're going to start with about 1/4 of the amount that you usually would. It's always a good practice anyway. Moringa powder. I don't know what moringa powder is offhand, Ranji. It sounds really familiar. I feel like I'm blanking on something that I do know, but I can't think of it right now. I'm sorry, I don't know. Vocal stimming's been for years. It's not temporary. So vocal stimming, that I'm thinking Lyme and PANS. So those are 2 co-infections, and they say close to 100% of children with autism today have Lyme's disease. And it's very, very, very common to have a test for it come up negative when your child's actually positive for it. So again, we have organic proprietary herbal formulas in the program that are safe and work really effectively for Lyme's disease. So, and I cannot offer it outside of the program. So again, long-term, it can save you so much to be a member of the program. not only do you have my support and links to direct products, but there's no more of that confusion and jumping around and taking tests that you don't know if they're accurate, and then being told to take antibiotics or drugs, or not knowing if what they're giving you is really working. Um, and I know that's happening all over the world every single day for parents of children with autism. So you want to nip this in the bud. If this has been on for, what did you say, years, it's not temporary. It needs to be taken care of once and for all. So Nellie, I really hope you're joining the program today. Shemuel, considering every child is different, how long does it typically take to see some results? So that can vary greatly. It can be, some parents are, one mom said, from the diet alone. There's, I think her story is maybe one of the ones that's written on the page there. Again, at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership, with the replay and the information about the program. She said her child used to be so hyper, and in 12 days in the program with the diet, etc., that her child now is so calm. So you're looking initially for subtle differences: calmness, better sleep, better eye contact. But differences vary. Speech, your child might have some words in a couple months, or it might be more in a few months. Everybody's different. So, but usually within the first month, if you're following everything, you're seeing some type of shift. And that's why I encourage you to look even for subtle shifts, because you got to remember, we're working with human biology and down to a cellular level, and they may still be being affected by some external environmental toxins you're unaware of. They might be carrying the co-infections that are keeping them from getting better. So remember all of this as you move forward in the program. Just keep moving forward methodically, one step at a time, in the sequential order that I give it to you. People sometimes want to go, well, I'll try this over here, and then I'll come back and I'll do this. I'm like, no, you're going to get the best results and the easiest to follow it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Enough jumping around to that. It's hard. Nellie, would you treat the parasites and co-infections after detox or at the same time? Excuse me. So what we do is I come in with all the foundational pieces first in module 1. The quick guide will guide you onto those. The first thing is one of the liquid binders, and then a couple of the minerals that will help to start to stabilize detoxification pathways and help support detoxification. And that's titrated up slowly just to gauge where your child's at. We don't want the cells to release toxins too quickly that are already in there either. So binders and minerals, along with the diet, few things. And then there's a few more stabilizing supplements there from the quick guide just initially. If you know your child's in a PANS flare or has parasites or Lyme, then we might move you this says it in the quick guide, might move you into working with the herbal formulas a teeny bit sooner. Otherwise, you're really getting the stabilization going, and then still fairly quickly. What I like to do, actually, I give an example of how to implement the herbal formulas, and there's a very good reason for this. So I'll tell you now that there's a whole PDF on this on any page in the member site that has to do with herbal formulas or co-infections. And there's a placeholder in module 7. It's a module that is really just a placeholder to learn about each co-infection: mold, Lyme, PANS, parasites. They all have their own page, which gives you a little video intro from me on it, text next to it, and then PDFs a couple of PDFs, a symptom guide, and then the protocol again for this PDF to herbal ordering and usage guide. we get you into the website. My assistant will do that. Our support will do that for you to help you get your account set up so you can order them. But then on that, I also give an example of how to implement, because mold is usually a big trigger and a hidden one. And there's a nasal spray and one of the a detoxifier, I'll say, that are two. There's a mold pack bundle that you can have other things in, but those are the two most important of that. So getting those two going first, and then usually within a week you can move on. And then what I like to do is get the first of the two parasite formulas going, because you add 1 drop a day for the first week. And then after that first week, you'll slowly titrate up, but you can start adding in other things. And so we get working with the parasites pretty quickly as well, because they're very important to work with quickly. Once as I mentioned in the workshop the other day, if you don't remember, that Lyme lives inside of parasites. Parasite will be a host for Lyme in our body. So what happens is, if we start to work with parasites, but we don't also start to work with Lyme at pretty close together, then as the parasites die, then they release the Lyme, and then you can end up with way worse behaviors and like a systemic Lyme infection all over again. So once you've gotten that parasite formula going, after that first week, I'll have you start implementing the first of the Lyme tier 1 formulas. There's a process to these. There's a tier for the Lyme and the PANS, and the Lyme and the PANS tiers overlap, which is really actually great, because it allows you to go in and kind of fight 2 infections at once for the same cost, because those formulas cover 2 things. But then for the few that don't overlap, like if your child was in a PANS flare, I might say, okay, start with a PANS tier and then add in at the end of the extra of the Lyme tier that haven't overlapped. But if not, then we want to start with the Lyme tier and add in the extra couple from the PANS tier at the end. And so there's an example of how to do this. So I don't want to confuse you here. I don't want to give you too much information now, because I don't want it to be, you'd be like, what? No, it's actually quite simple, but I'm saying this because you asked this question, and it's a very good question. Lyme lives inside of parasites, and you need to make sure that they're both worked with pretty simultaneously, or you can end up with a bigger problem. So we make sure that happens. Again, there's a lot to know, right? It's an educational program that is interactive, and you are very proactive. It's up to you. I'm your guide, but you're the one, you're doing it, but you can do this. And I am there to support you. I won't leave you hanging. The forum's there if you need it. There's a lot of the knowledge base has most frequently asked questions. You can research things in the forum with the search bar. There's like so much great information in there for you. I can't even tell you. Is there a one-to-one meeting when the membership starts? There's not. The quick guide, the reason I do this in group format is because I can help with that many more parents. I'm one person, and I just wouldn't be able to do one-on-one and not be able to help everybody. So the forum is there to ask me your questions. So you get that, personal interaction with me if you have a specific question. But I've tried to be quite thorough with the PDF guide, where again, you'll get started with the initial guide of the quick guide to getting started. And then there's also a complete roadmap that shows you everything, but I just like you to have that, how to get started. Once you get your feet wet, you'll realize that it's, like, okay, I got this. It's like the initial, like, can I do this? So, but what I am doing, and I do this once a month, we do have a live call like this. But what I am doing this time that I've not done before is, as an extra exclusive bonus, aside from the bonuses you already are getting in the program, as an extra bonus, I am giving you a ticket. You will get to a free live event with me like this, that will have you and the other new members come in, and I want to get you kind of on that quick start guide and walking you through any initial questions you have. We might wait, a couple days or a week or maybe even 2 weeks into the program. I have to decide exactly when we want to do that for the right timing, because I want you to come in and get your feet wet and see what your questions are too before. But we want to be able to help you kind of on that getting started guide, getting started thing, so that you feel comfortable in that process. So most people do. As the years have gone by with this program, I've been able to see the most frequently asked questions, or somebody just started. I'm like, we're noticing in the beginning, people are asking this question a lot. So then I address it. I either create a PDF guide for it and put it on the introduction page or on the supplement page, or put it in the quick guide, a note about it, so that you have the information you need. It's not like, you don't know what to do, you can't find it. And again, the forum is available 24/7. If you have a question, you just ask me in there and I get back to you within about 24 hours. So that is always available to you as well. Why do I wake up with an adrenaline, anxiety rush, and an upset stomach in the morning? Is it because my adrenal glands and autism? It could be adrenal anxiety. If you're waking up in the morning with that, anxiety can be a lot of things. Definitely could be adrenals. Ashwagandha can be helpful for adrenals too. It could be a histamine reaction if you are sensitive to any particular foods. Waking up in the morning with GI pain. I'm trying to remember, because a bunch of them do it. Heavy metals can do it, and so can PANS and Lyme. But PANS, you'd have more symptoms other times of day as well. Notice, so there are possible multiple causes to that. I would look at histamines and adrenals, could definitely be a possibility too. Okay, so we have gone 90 minutes. And right here, I see enrollment is now open. Again, it's for a limited time. Okay, so midnight, Sunday night, enrollment will close down. The replay will go away, everything. So please join the program. You can learn everything it offers you, hear stories from other parents what they have to share, who have been in the program, and what they have to share with you, and what the program's done for them as a parent and for their child as well. The two choices for the payment options, how that works is in the terms you can read. There's everything you need there. Again, the replay, and we will, I think by tonight, maybe at least by tomorrow morning. Anyway, this replay of this Q&A will be put up on that same page, where you will also can join the membership site. And again, that's only through Sunday, this coming Sunday, just a couple days away. So please join before enrollment and everything closes, so that I can help you the best way that I can, which is with this program, A to Z. It's done online. You can do it from a laptop, you can do it from your phone, anything that you have access to being online with. And you just follow the sequential order, one thing at a time. When you join, when you click submit, literally within 5 minutes, you'll have an email in your inbox that will give you your personal login details to the private member site. It'll tell you there's a start here page and an introduction page. It'll show you the lay of the land, so you know how the site works and how to ask a question in the forum. There's a little video on that we made. So we've really tried to guide you the best way possible, keep it easiest and simplest as possible. Again, it'll tell you about the quick guide to getting started. So, just do one thing at a time. This isn't about like trying to do 10 things at once. Just, get the first couple supplements, the binder, the mineral, and then, once you've implemented them, then your child's doing well, then you can try to start the next thing. This is where I always say slow is good. Go slow to go fast, so that you don't have to back up too much, if you get into die-off symptoms, you want to just implement very slowly as you move forward. And the forum, of course, is there to ask me your questions anytime you need. And like I said, I get back to you within about 24 hours after that. And there's a search bar in the forum where you can type in your keyword. There's also in the knowledge base, new to the program, so things like that, that just can help guide you in things. Or if you had a question about something, the forum has so much knowledge in there, from questions, because you'll find your questions are the same as a lot of other parents and vice versa. So we archive all of the questions and answers in the forum, so that if you type a keyword in the search box, then it'll pop up with multiple questions and answers from the past that I've answered already. Other parents have asked and I've answered, so that you can learn the answer to it. But then if you don't see your question answered, then just ask me in the forum and I'll again get back to you within about 24 hours. So I hope this has been helpful for you. And I really, really look forward to helping you and helping support you on this journey. I know it can be challenging, and every day your child's getting older and have those fears and concerns about their future. And I want to help you to alleviate those and sleep better at night, and feel more like there's relief and like there's, a positive, healthy, happy future, and help your child, help you to help your child really to live their highest quality of life possible, where they are a lot healthier and a lot happier. And I believe that's possible for every child. So, but it's up to you. And so now it's up to you to choose to join the program and do this and move forward, so that we can get them on that path, on the right path. And so you're not wasting any more time or expense on things that aren't working for you. So I really, really look forward to seeing you in the program and helping you there. And again, remember to go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/membership, and that will give you everything you need to know about the program and to join. And I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Take care, and thank you so much for what you're doing.